I've only considered dating an Asian once, and he was, as I said, mixed. And and other than that, I really haven't had any inclination to do so. And the reason for that, I guess, is a big part of it's the physical attraction. Um, in reality, I do like some variety in one package, hair, not hair, and and I like the scruff. And most Asian guys, except for obviously some exceptions, tend to be smooth.
I moved to this country from Hong Kong when I was 13, and it was like I threw a switch when I came over. I went from being attracted to Asians to being attracted to white guys almost immediately, and it took me quite a few years to kind of not switch back, but sort of encompass the whole human race, so to speak. I think what happened to me was when I was in college at Berkeley, I met this guy, Rice Queen, so to speak, and he kind of um, made me appreciate Asians all over again.
When I was in fifth grade, I kind of remember, well, I do remember a very striking incident. I was uh, taking judo lessons at the time, and after judo class, all the kids went into the shower room, and the judo master was this very muscular Japanese man. And I remember staring at him in the shower, and I thought, oh my God, what an attractive man.
I haven't always dated Caucasians. I've never dated any Asians though. Interestingly enough, um, I guess, and I don't know why I've never had any attractions for. I guess there's some Asians that I now find attractive that I could have dated if I weren't with Tony. But I've dated almost every other ethnicity.
Well, for me, there's a comfort level that I don't feel with white guys, definitely. I mean, we can, especially with Chinese, but not just Chinese, Asians in general, because there's a lot of commonality and experience and cultural upbringing. I feel like there's a lot of things that I don't have to say. There's an unspoken understanding with other Asians, like we would understand some, backgrounds about family, about what's accepted, what we're supposed to say, what we're not supposed to say. But with white people, it's almost like I have to explain everything, and how come they just don't get it? How come they're saying things that they're not supposed to? So there's that level of comfort.
I don't feel a strong attraction to Asians because they feel like my brother or something, and that's just kind of strange to me. Whereas, like, I'm interested in people that are different from myself, I guess.
I think some Asian men don't want to be with other Asian men because they feel it's incestuous, that somehow they need to escape.
Mm, no, it's more like sleeping with yourself. I think. And then there's it's like, oh, the stereotype that all Asians are bottoms. And so, you don't, since, I consider myself mainly a bottom, I don't want to wrestle with the dynamics of that, I guess. I was trying to think about the first time I ever heard Rice Queen, and I think I was 17, and I was sitting in this restaurant called The Raven on Polk and California Street, and I just started hanging out there. Um, this guy came up to me with bleached blonde hair, not very attractive, and was like all over me. And my friends came over and said, "Oh, that's Sean. He's a Rice Queen." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get it now."
The sense I get off of them is that, when they almost always ask, do I primarily just date white guys? And, I tell them, well, those are the only guys I have dated. And they go, oh, okay, And then, of course, they don't volunteer any of their own information, like, well, I primarily go for Asians or anybody of color. And so it's kind of like a double standard. You know, they kind of think that I'm going after a certain specific type, which is actually, I think, a pretty broad range, and yet they don't, you know, they don't want to be examined in the same type of spotlight.
Quite honestly, one of the questions I frequently got when I met an Asian man was, "Do you date a lot of Asians?" So it was sort of this little issue at first, and we had to establish that yes, I did date Asians sometimes, but not exclusively, and this somehow seemed to be important.
Quickly. I'm usually asked quickly if it's usually in the first conversation that somebody asks me if I'm a rice queen or if I'm attracted to Asians. And then a part of that is whether I date Asians exclusively and how long have I dated Asians, that sort of thing.
What is a rice queen? You know, it's a really disturbing term because it does seem to stereotype a white man, I think, that only goes out with Asian men and has perhaps some unarticulated issues that they're going to force on their partners. But so you know, the term as it's thrown around, I think, is a little bit ugly. But I guess I'm a rice queen.
Definitely, I've seen guys, and I've heard them talk, Caucasian guys that are really into Asian guys, almost to the point it seems like a trophy, because you hear them talking about, oh well, they're going on vacation, they're going to Thailand, and they're going to Hong Kong, and they're going to Thailand, they're going here and there, and it's almost like their entire life is devoted to finding Asian guys and more Asian guys, you know, not just one or two.
I suppose there could be a negative connotation to it. Sometimes I feel like it has sort of a predatory kind of feel behind it, like, oh, it's just a rice queen, he's looking for his next prey, so to speak. I have an Asian friend who views me as being that, just out looking for the next Asian man. And sometimes I sort of hear, or I see that thought go flying across my brain of, oh, who's next, who's next, who's next? And it makes me a little uncomfortable.
Oh my God. Me. No. For me, a rice queen really has a negative connotation. I don't like the term particularly, and I don't use the term, and I don't like it used about me. It has been, my friends have referred to me that way, and I tell them I don't appreciate that. I don't like that particularly.
It's very limiting, you know, like any other stereotype. That's what it's fed on, stereotype. There are too many. It's debilitating, I think. There are too many people that are termed rice queens, unfortunately, and they can't get past beyond the physical, you know, the physical exterior beauty, if you will, to really get to know the person inside.
Because I mean, I think the term, when you hear it, especially if you're out among, you know, the gay Asian community, it's really not meant to be a nice term. It's, you know, you hear it as more of a derogatory term.
Yeah.
He said there's 3 classes of rice queens. Class 1 is, okay, they're just attracted to the physical part. They just like the way they look, nothing else. Okay. Class 2 is they like the looks, but they like the culture that goes along with it. They understand some of the culture. They might have traveled there and stuff. And class 3 is what he said, kind of demented. Like, they think they're Asian. You know, they're really into it, and they might even have a rice cooker.
Sometimes, you know, I have friends who I would call rice queens, and you go to their apartment and it's completely decorated like a Japanese country home, you know, or like a Chinese estate. You know, everything in there is Asian, and they sleep on the floor and the whole thing. It's like they're in the old country or something.
They're opposed to
Asian pop star on their wall, maybe.
So, I mean, to me, that's a true rice queen right there. especially maybe if they have Chinese or Japanese language on their answering machine when you call their house.
Well, with rice queens, I think it's apt because almost all Asian cultures eat rice. It's a staple. With potato queen, that's not, I didn't hear of potato queen until I came out to San Francisco. Back in Boston and D.C., I never heard of a potato queen. And potato, I guess, kind of makes sense because potato is a mainstay in American food, more so Irish, I guess, but I like Irish guys too.
Like in Japanese, the term for gay is okama, which means rice pot, and that's the only time I ever heard a food term used prior to that, prior to hearing the term rice queen. I mean, I didn't even know the term rice queen until I was in Japan, and someone actually used it once, and I was like, what does that mean, And then someone told me. And the only other term, this is just some trivia, the other term for a fag hag in Japan is okoge. Okoge means the burnt rice that's stuck to the rice pot. So okoge when it'll come out.
I guess because it seems to me more acceptable or more normal for an Asian man to desire a white man. Potato queen doesn't have the strength, the power that rice queen has.
Potato queen is not only attracted to skin color, white skin color. Potato queen is somebody who's attracted to everything a white man represents, stereotypically, strength, maleness, success, power, everything that white men have been traditionally invested with, endowed with in this culture.
I think a rice queen is somebody who obviously are interested in Asians, usually a non-Asian, because Asians who like Asians are sticky rice, like white guys who like other white guys are mashed potatoes or something. It's so ludicrous when you have to invent a term. If you have to be so, what's the word? When I explained the term sticky rice to people in Hong Kong, they just thought, what are you talking about? That's just how things work. It's like, you don't invent a term for white guys who only date white guys here.